up probability too much in this field.
Right.
All right, lock it in here. Perfect.
Okay.
And where is
It's right here.
And your software is up. There it is. Now let's just verify we have what we have. So FootMat research help. Just double checking everything is what we're supposed to have. Let's do it. Okay. All right. So before we get deep into the process of using the system, and we have what 6 people in the room, so just try not to all talk at once. But why don't you just give me a good overview of what you're trying to do with the MobileMat and what your expectations with that information is.
I can go ahead and do this. This is Lori. So we are investigating kind of unique ways to study the freezing response, which is part of the human stress response, and this is associated with things like PTSD and anxiety. So it's a relatively new approach, but what we've seen in the literature is that individuals, we kind of have them go through some stressors or maybe exposed to stimuli, and we measure their anterior, posterior, and left to right body sway. That's the main thing that we are focused on, but there may be some additional approaches. So basically the freezing response is just like it sounds. It's an immobility in certain conditions that, sometimes they have people watch movies or look at disturbing pictures. Some other researchers have used conditions of eyes open and eyes closed. But mainly it's, something that's very disturbing, and instead of seeing a mobilization response that's along with the sympathetic nervous system, you see a freezing, which is kind of more associated with a vagal response, which is part of the stress response. I hope that
all right, so you gave me some good stuff there. I'm very interested in it. So you're basically trying to figure out why people kind of an element of the fight and flight when it has to do with like a PTSD.
Yeah. I mean, it's a response. It's not necessarily fight or flight, but it's a response that you see. It's been studied pretty extensively in lower level animals, like rats, for example, but it's only more recently been studied in humans. So yeah, we're really trying to tap into that. It's an exciting area, and we're at the forefront of research on this.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then anterior, posterior body sway is what's the most important to you.
And left to right.
And left to right.
So
and then what would be? You mentioned that there are other things that might be helpful. Are you just saying that because the software has other features and you want to see if that'll be beneficial, or do you have something in mind?
Well, anything, and I kind of defer to you on this, anything that would help us identify when individuals are freezing, when they kind of stop moving, they get in that rigid pose.
What's the position of the people when they're taking or collecting the data that will they be standing?
They'll be standing.
Will they be walking? Is there a specific position you're having them in?
Standing with their feet apart, about hip width. But yeah, they'll just be asked to stand on the mat. I mean, that's what others have done. So that's kind of what, while they're standing, we want to measure their body sway to determine if that freezing response to stimuli is occurring.
Okay, and the eyes will always be open. The stimuli is always visual, not auditory.
Visual primarily. We haven't really thought about auditory, but yeah, and we will have them open and close their eyes. What is it, in 30-second?
I think 60-second intervals.
60-second intervals.
Yeah.
Okay. And we might also expose them to photographs or a movie. I just submitted an NSF proposal to eventually incorporate this with virtual reality, where we'd have them stand on a mat and expose them to virtual reality scenarios that are more immersive and improves ecological validity. But that's not currently where we're at, but that's going forward what I'd like to do. So.
Okay, so let me ask the next question. Once you have, let's say we show you how to collect this data, what are you going to do with it? Are you exporting it, or are you going to evaluate it in the software?
I mean, if it can be evaluated in the software, then we can just record it and input it into a spreadsheet. That's fine. I don't know if we need to work with raw data per se, because we're novice with all of this. So if we can get the body sway measurements through the software and just record that, that would be fantastic. But again, I don't know about the capabilities, or if it would be advantageous for us to export this, or if that's even a value that can be exported.
Okay, and how long is the official test? Standing there with your eyes open watching something?
We're going to do, I believe, 60-second chunks. So they'll have their eyes open for 60 seconds, take a break, have their eyes closed for 60 seconds, take a break, and then do a repeat. So 2 of each situation.
Is there a recommendation that you have for the duration? What would be the maximum duration to have them stand on a mat like that and measure body sway?
What I want to do is I'm playing with the software now. I just want to see what our options are.
Okay.
From a time standpoint specific to, I'm just checking something real quick.
Okay.
Based on your scenario, eyes open, stimuli removed for 60 seconds. That's 120 seconds. You're doing it twice. That's 240 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Probably just made it. So I'm just trying to wrap one. Here's the thing, is we're going to have to talk about it. You bought the sway analysis module. It's called SAM. That pretty much does exactly what you're asking. It'll show a graphical representation of an anterior to posterior, a left to right sway. But the only challenge here is I want to verify it's going to be able to do all 240 seconds simultaneously, which it should be able to. So that's all. I'm trying to verify it here. All right. So I got what you want to do. All right. So let's start from scratch. We'll talk about what we're going to do from an operations standpoint. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I like to break this down into, and it's all going to have to be, specific to your needs. We're going to set this up that's accurate for what you're trying to collect. All right, so we're going to go through 6 main steps today. If anyone's got a notepad, step 1 will be the system setup. My guess is you're probably already there. We'll talk some about acquisition parameters. We'll talk about sensitivity, calibration, then data collection, how to collect the test, and then we'll review some of the features. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So from a standpoint of collecting or setting up the system, it's pretty simple. Have you already had the chance to plug it into the computer?
Yes.
All right. So for the most part, I'm going to do a crude visual here. So you should have a computer. That's the computer. Everyone see that computer?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's not from Apple. That's from Chris Plus. All right, and then you're going to have your mat, right? And there's a bump on it, and then a wire into the computer. Does that seem representative of what you got?
Yep.
All right, good. So here's the kicker, and I want you to put a star on your notepad. You must plug in the hardware before launching the software. I'm kind of proud of this picture right now.
Great.
patients you go through, are you going to be naming them specifically by their names, or are you going to have it kind of participant XYZ, some type of file number?
The second, just IDs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So looks like you're already kind of halfway there, but obviously go to create a new patient. So let's go ahead and do that. And who's volunteering to be our patient today?
Paige, are you? You can do it. Who wants to
Is
do it?
that Brian or Jonathan?
Brian. All right, Brian.
Brian. All right, Brian. Thanks. Good volunteers. All right. So let's go ahead and click new patient.
Would it be best for him to have his shoes on or off?
We prefer with shoes off.
Okay.
Okay.
If you're going to have the shoes on, we recommend getting some type of rubber material, not a thick rubber material, something kind of like a soft mesh material, and place it over the mat, just to help the durability of the sensor, especially if you're standing.
Yeah.
But in the big picture, if you're just doing standing studies, standing there in place isn't going to do severe damage to the sensor.
Yeah.
All right, so who's going to run the mouse?
I can. Alicia will run the mouse. Yes.
All right, Alicia, let's go ahead and click new patient,
Okay.
and let's put in Mr. Brian. I still couldn't get your last name. Bolter.
Bolter? What are you
I'm
gonna
gonna
say?
know it now. Bolter.
B-O-U-L.
Be a bolter. Okay.
Oh, Bolter.
Yeah,
It is
that's all right.
B-O-U-T.
Okay. Do we need to have their birth date?
Yeah, the first, last, birthday, and gender are mandatory, and the body weight is helpful
Makes
in
sense.
the big picture.
19 what?
95.
95. And then approximate.
160.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So now that you're in the screen, our patient profile is created. I know it doesn't look like it. It goes into a live window, but one of the things you can do is this icon here with the three faces will always give you access to this, okay?
Okay.
We can see Brian's name's highlighted, so we can actually open his patient profile. There's nothing in here yet, but that's okay. And then we can click New Movie. So let's go ahead and click New Movie.
Okay.
So this is one way to go through the new movie process. It asks you about parameters, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The other way to do it is after you create the profile, it brings you, if you remember a few seconds ago, it just left you here with nothing on the screen, right?
Yeah.
You shaking your head yet?
We said yes.
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 Yeah.
We will speak
Good.
up.
Remember, I'm 2,000 miles away. I'd love to be flown down there to Florida, though. So the other way is when this screen's up, you can click the new recording icon here, and that'll bring up the same window that we saw earlier. Film, see? There it is. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so one of the things that I always challenge myself with is if you're doing a research study, I'm assuming absolute values are important to you. But I don't get the impression that absolute values are important to you guys at this moment. Is that true?
It depends on what you mean by absolute values. I mean, we want a calculated value. If we can
All right,
get
so
that.
let me give you an example. Brian, go ahead and step on the sensor. And I just want you to stand there for a moment. Now, if I hover over his heel, you can see this light blue where my arrow is.
Mm-hmm.
Down in the right-hand corner of the screen, it says load 144.45. Raw.
Okay.
Does everyone see that?
Yep.
Brian, do you want to turn around so you can see?
Yeah, I do.
There you
Is that okay? Can they stand either direction on the mat, or does it have to be one way?
Well, later when we actually do the test, we prefer him facing the way he was. But right now, it's okay.
Yeah, we can rotate the board. Just
We
turn
can
the board
rotate the
around.
go. Yeah.
Now, do you see where it says the load and the raw number there?
Okay. He's getting that on.
Okay, he's back on.
It's down in that lower right corner, right above where the clock is on the laptop.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right. So right now that's reading raw values. Now we can make them absolute by calibrating the sensor.
Okay.
Once we calibrate them, it would read something like load 20 psi, 10 psi.
Okay, what is
That
that?
number,
Oh.
knowing the value of the force under the foot itself, does that have any value to you?
I don't believe so unless it's used to calculate body sway.
No.
Okay.
Good to know. Because that'll save you some extra stuff here. So when we're looking for sway, you have a real simple process here. Is you get the patient, you have them placed on the sensor, you have shoulder width apart with their feet.
Yep.
Yep.
You're going to click the SAM module here.
Okay.
There's your center of force icon. That's the black and white icon shifting. Now, Brian, go ahead and shift your weight to your right foot. Everyone can watch this move.
Yep.
There you go. See how it changes in different positions. But when you hit sway, the sway module instructions pop up.
Where was this?
So it basically will walk you through how to collect data for him.
Like the highlighted little tab, it says SAM under where it's the real time.
Oh.
That's the sway module.
So here we go, SAM. Right?
Oh, okay, that brings it up on that. Okay, I didn't know if you need to click on something else.
Well, that's a good question. So there are times where this won't be up. And that's over here. Do you see where it says SAM toolbar?
Yep.
If that's off, that toolbar is not there.
Okay.
Okay.
So you would just click that on, and if you leave it on, it's always going to be on.
Okay.
All right? And so then we click SAM. Let's move this out. And then it says, these instructions will guide you through the use of the sway analysis module. Press next to continue. So let's go. So, Alicia, let's go ahead and click next.
Okay.
And so here we're starting to go through the steps to collect the data. Your feet.
Okay.
Eyes open.
So if we wanted to add in like a auditory something, we could add in a new task here.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
right.
So he has his eyes open. Next.
And you can, you can write eyes open with auditory.
Okay. Whatever
so-
the task is. Okay. Whatever the task is, we just
I'll read to you. So. All right, and once you're done, let's click next.
Okay.
All right, so now let's press record to begin.
Okay.
And he's just going to stand there. If someone wants to put on the terrible photographs, they can, but obviously you don't have them yet. All right, so now it's just going to play out.
Okay.
Now, after 30 seconds, you might want him to stop doing what he's doing, but you can see the frames at the bottom here, recording frames.
Okay.
So what I did is the frames are 7,200 frames, which if you multiply 240 by 30, that's what you're going to get.
Okay.
And so you probably have to divide 7,200 into 4 so you know the stopping point for each. So you have a 30 second segments accounted for. So we don't have to go all the way into it and do the whole entire thing, but I have it set up so you can actually have 240 straight seconds.
Okay.
Do you want it to be like that, or would you prefer to be 30-second segments?
Shorter segments, probably, yeah. Is there a
We
recipe?
prefer 30-second segments.
So if we went,
Yes.
yeah.
Let's click save.
Okay.
And there's his name, it's highlighted, and you can put a diagnostic and procedure here if you want to put a note. I'll just write test.
Okay.
Oh, I think we moved on this name. There you go. GST. Let me save that profile. Now what's important is when I move this, you have a new window pop up automatically with live data.
Okay.
But this is the scan. And if I hit the word Sam again, and I'll have you do that. Go ahead and hit Sam
In the new window or the old one?
on the old one.
Okay.
It will create an anterior, posterior, center of force movement spectrum here. And then a left to right here.
Okay.
In addition to that, you have a variable table. And you have a confidence interval. All right. So am I correct that this is what you're specifically, one of the key features here, the anterior posterior?
Yeah, and especially that table that you brought up, the values, I think. Because there was an average, right, for both in that table? So the AP, left, right, average.
So which table, I'm sorry?
That
This one?
table, that table.
This table, like
Yeah.
this value here, this average left, right.
We have a value and an average. I'm not sure of the distinction, because it looks like the bottom two rows are what we would be interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the left, the average anterior, posterior, and left and right.
Right, but
That's
what's
a
the,
single
what's
number. Now, to give you more details on those numbers, you would have to go to your, I'll show you something. There should be a folder. I might have downloaded on your desktop.
Yeah, there's another, let's see, FootMat. This one.
In here under, should be under the help menu. So the variable table. This should give you some more definitions to each of the
okay.
things. Isn't it?
That's good.
Good.
That's good to know.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just going to X out of it for now.
This is percentage.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
I don't know how to get back to the...
Yeah, let's see. It's there. We just have too many things open.
Say that again?
I just have too many things open.
That's all right. All right, so those are this is specific to what you're looking for, the anterior, posterior, left to right sway information, okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
Is there any other questions in regards to that? I'm setting this up and doing this. Is this exactly what you need to do in the future, or is there more?
I mean, I think that's pretty much what we're looking at. So what we'll be wanting to do after this would be to compare each, like both tests of like they're having their eyes open versus their eyes closed. If there's
You
any
do
way
another
that,
test?
huh?
When you do another test, we'll
Yeah.
do it in a second. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just going to hit, let's go ahead and we'll do the next test.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go ahead and run through it real quick. Just stand, don't do much, Brian. I just want to show you when you have two tests open simultaneously, the computer will calculate the information for you in the same tables. So I think that would be helpful for you since you're going to do 30 minutes or 30 seconds on, you do another one 30 seconds without the stimulus, and you can do all four of them together and put them in the same tables.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think that's what we're thinking of, rather than having it all recorded in one big chunk.
Right. And so that's what I'm just going to upload a report for a little bit. Alright, so this is the third, so here we go, we got 1, 2 tests. Alright, if I hit Sam, there you go. So you can see test 1 is in green, or test 2 is in green, test 1 is in red. And again, gives you all the same data, comparative information. They should be pretty similar since
Yeah.
he hasn't done anything differently, but and since the second test is half the time, that's why it stops there.
Yep.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would come up here to options, acquisition parameters, and what I do is I'll change it to 30 seconds. So now going forward, you only have 30-second movies.
Okay.
And I would just do for each patient or each person, you do 4 movies, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It'd be like on, off. And then you can put all 4 into one graph by opening them up.
Okay. What's the max number of movies that you can compare at the same time? Because what we're gonna have happen is they're gonna measure the 4 measurements at one point in time, and then a month later we're gonna repeat the same variables again. So ultimately, each person will have 8 of these little movies.
Yep.
To compare. Would that be possible, or does it all have to be, we just open each one and then hit the SAM button?
I don't know the answer, but I'm happy to try to figure it out.
Okay.
Let's see how many we can do. Okay?
Okay.
And just try it.
So for each 30-second segment, we have to hit the SAM button again?
It looks, we'd have to record it again.
Right.
Yeah.
It should be okay though, because there's 2 minutes of baseline between each one, so while they're resting, it was 2 minutes, we can have the next.
Well, for this, they only do 30-second, or, right, in between. So they open their eyes, close their eyes, then rest, or they rest after each one, or?
I mean, are we gonna have them do a baseline between each one?
Yeah, those just what the script at.
Yeah.
I thought it was just baseline before the body sway and then another 2-minute baseline after.
Okay.
And that there was just like these 30-second segments that occurred over 3 minutes, but I could
Okay.
be wrong. Because if we do a 2-minute baseline
I
between
know,
each one, it's
that's-
gonna really stretch the time out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, so.
Yeah.
All right, so this is 4.
Okay.
We'll see if at least 4 works, right? Yeah, so we can get at least 4. I'll try a 5th one, okay?
Okay.
Not sure if that'll work. And the challenge, if it does work, you're going to have is that it's going to start to get so small.
Oh, I think you just did test 5.
Oh,
So, yeah.
so there's 5 tests. So let me just see.
Oops.
Oh,
We crashed. Okay.
hold on a second.
You're getting tired, you can probably sit down for a little bit, relax.
All right, so it just shut down. Let's go to reopen that for me.
Okay. So,
Where it is. There it is.
Right. Is there a way we could just do one movie and have 30-segments within that movie? Where it would just, I don't know, or you'd have to do.
Originally, I had the 240 seconds assigned, and then it would have been up to you to change.
we would have had to, then we'd have to mark down each time. I'd rather, it'd be better, I think, to have the movies
Yeah.
for each situation. If we wanted to just compare their,
The only challenge is if it only lets you open 4 movies simultaneously. Do patients.
So we could do the 240 seconds with 30-second intervals of data measurement.
Yeah, you just have to time it yourself, be able to
Yeah.
click on or click off. I don't know if you do you want downtime between each
Yes.
interval or a segment?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's something it, because we'll want, you know, because they need to have a chance to relax and then go back, so they aren't fidgety.
And won't those tables have the entire 240 seconds?
But I think you could do both, but I don't know if we're going to do more than 4 movies
That's what I was
compared
asking.
at any given time. If that's the case, what you're going to have to do is export the information and compare it in a different type of format.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I guess we could compare just the eyes open and like from each.
Yeah, I don't know if we need it repeated.
I don't think we probably do.
Waiting for the software to
Yeah, we
pop
just need
up,
a total.
it needs to be hanging out.
Well, the validity needs, you need to have the repeated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but what, the question is, will we be expecting changes or differences across the different segments? Which I don't think so, but maybe everybody did.
Well, yeah, I think with when you do the intervention, you're gonna hopefully have a change.
Across time in that, so there'll be less
I don't know why
body
it's
sway
not
and more
popping
body
on.
sway
Let me close it.
Yeah.
with each
Give it a second.
test.
Well, there's not within the.
Is it between or repeated measures within changes? In other words,
Yeah.
is it, I thought we were just expecting a difference when their eyes are open versus their eyes are closed, but not necessarily there's gonna be, like, the first time you open and close your eyes, there's gonna be a difference there versus repeated times. Like,
You guys unplug the system?
What?
If you unplug the USB back or knock it out accidentally,
No? Hold on.
I'll check and make sure.
yeah, just try to unplug and replug it for me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It might have been when also
Oh, the chair.
Okay.
There we go. Alright, there's Brian. 2, 3, 4, 5 different movies for Brian. So if I click all 5 and then hit open movie. Yeah, it's the computer, I think it's not going to allow you to do more than 4 movies at a given
Okay.
time.
At least we know that.
Yeah. Well, then we can figure it out.
Yeah.
As they are. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. Just to walk through this, make sure we got a good handle on it. I'm going to close all these. I'm going to have you guys collect. So pretend we launch the software. Molly, you around? You want to be a subject for a moment?
Sure.
Alright.
Alright, so Molly, we'll have you stand on the, so we're going to create a patient profile for Molly.
So maybe someone
And I want you guys to walk through and collect the data and then put it up on the screen, okay? To make sure we got the process good.
Okay.
Okay. Paige is gonna volunteer. She has socks on.
Good page.
Yeah. Will the mat allow us to use like a wet wipe to clear off if we have participants who don't have socks?
Say that again, wet wipe like for the cover? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can use I usually would recommend like just a dry wipe for dusting kind of thing.
Okay.
If it's not like a highly light damp rag would be fine, but I wouldn't go ahead and use any type of chemicals on it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What? Oh. here.
If you see this, just close it. I didn't teach you this process. This is different.
Okay.
So right now it's at 240 seconds, just so you know.
Okay.
If you want to move it to 30 seconds, I'll show you how to do it at the end.
Okay. Right. So then we hit the Sam button. Don't you want to stand on
Give me an example of type of imagery you're going to use.
Well, so there's a couple approaches, and we're still kind of deciding what we're going to use. But one approach is eyes open and eyes closed in repeated measures fashion. We also could explore having them watch pictures of emotional expression as they gradually come into, I don't know, it's actually, they start with a neutral face expression and they gradually move into a facial expression of happiness or disgust. So we might be measuring body sway during some of those scenarios. And like I mentioned earlier, what we've seen in the research is they'll maybe show a participant an image of very disturbing, like mutilation. We'd rather not do that if we can avoid it, but we have to see what will cause a freezing response. So we're kind of starting with the idea of eyes open and eyes closed, but then we might have to, add some additional stimuli. But it could be in the form of a movie or in the
So far, you look like you did a pretty good job throughout this process. I just want you to make you aware, you're probably aware of it already. Once you complete a scan, so you always have to kind of move it away and reposition it. Just how the software is going to work.
Okay.
All right, so now that you have the data over there on the left, what do we do to see the actual tables?
Hit the Sam button again?
Yeah, there it is. Perfect.
Okay.
Excellent.
So that.
All right. Now, any questions throughout the process of collecting the data and seeing the tables? Your hand in the back. Is that you, Jonathan?
What about like lower languages? Because I have them, so I'm wondering how that.
Yeah.
That's a good
So
question.
the last part of this training is really, it doesn't sound like it's going to be that important to you guys, but what you can do is, you can see how I'm clicking on an individual window. So right now on the left to right center of force movement, and it's highlighted because it turns dark blue.
Yeah.
You're going to activate the window you want. But let's say I wanted this one. After I activate it, I can go up to File, Save ASCII.
Okay.
And what this will allow us to do is save this information in an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
Okay.
Just got to put it on our desktop for now, just so I can quickly find it. All right, so now, should be somewhere on your desktop. Give it save.
Here it is. Sam.
Oh, there. Yeah, go ahead.
Or the center of force one. So,
Yeah, I think I saved two of them accidentally.
so like this would.
And so that's the XY axis of the graph.
Okay.
So we
So
could
you
actually
can
use that
reproduce
data
the
and
graph.
average it ourselves.
So it's just another feature for exporting, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know, because we might use it if we need to just do one long period and just kind of average segments of this. We know their eyes are open or eyes are closed. So.
Right, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you can so you can do something longer and more. You can actually compare way more movies simultaneously. All right. So that's kind of the process of collecting the data, saving the data, walking through it. Any questions here?
What if they have like a leg injury or something? How would, like you said, you have one.
I run each leg actually.
Each leg.
Would that affect our measurement if there are leg injuries?
Leg injury. Well, I don't know the answer would affect the measurement. I would assume it would have some, it would affect their sway to have like a leg length discrepancy or a ACL issue or a hip injury. I think that would affect their sway and make them lean to one side, but will it affect their biological response to stimuli? I don't know the answer.
Yeah, and we can control because we are going to take body sway without stimuli, and we can statistically control for that. So I don't think that'll be an issue. I think we can handle that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, this, just so you know, this system can do a lot more, but really hyper-focusing on your needs today for the anterior, posterior, and left to right sway. So what I would suggest is we stop the training here. If for some reason you're study or you're about to start the study and you say, you know what, I want some more information, you should just reach out to me and we can do another training about the broadness of what you can get out of this.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because I don't think it's going to help you for me to add the next, because the next piece is a lot more complicated. And not that I don't think, you're capable of it, but I don't like teaching two major concepts simultaneously.
Okay. Yeah, we have a lot to work with
already.
for
So,
today, yeah.
but yeah,
Okay, good.
what is the next process?
You have my email address still, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the next process? Just so we know, so we don't bug you and say we want to know something, and then.
What's the process of doing so you can just call me on the phone or shoot me an email, but I would prefer if it's from like a key contact. So I know we've been in contact. If you're the right person, Alicia.
Yeah, yes.
I keep pronouncing your names wrong.
Alicia, that's okay.
But if you're if everyone can kind of funnel through one email, so I don't, and you can see everyone on it, but sometimes it's hard to keep track of who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
If I'm getting it from different places. If you don't want to be the contact, just make sure you make me aware of who it is.
I guess maybe the question is more, what would you cover? So what are the additional capabilities? Just kind of a brief summary of
I
that.
misunderstood.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all right.
So the additional things would be along the lines of force distribution, where on the foot, for example, is the hot force is located. So if we have Paige step on the sensor, so where's the highest point on her foot? And we only can do this if we calibrate and sensitize the sensor. There's also reporting features here. Up here, 3-box peak pressures. So we can do an analysis on the symmetry on the feet, whether the heel and breakdown in the midfoot or the forefoot has any type of value. Normally it's more of a research podiatry kind of concepts. Peak pressures where, are kind of point out where alterations may occur and stuff like that. So, a lot of the stuff that we would talk about, features would be lead into, peak pressure analysis, 3-box analysis. We would talk about calibration and sensitivity functions on how they work and how they make the data more accurate. We would talk about setting up graphical representations of it. So an example would be, here's a live graph. And so, Paige, start walking in place for me. And you can start to see different modes of the feet and gait analysis and the functions of how the feet hit the ground and where the pressures are being forced. We can also do some symmetrical movement. Right now it's just 2 feet. You're looking at the center of how the center of gravity moves throughout the whole foot. So those would be kind of the concepts we would focus on in the next level.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Okay. But listen, if you get to a point where you're asking yourself, wow, I wish I knew more about what's under the foot and where are they leaning specifically on the foot? You know, are they leaning towards the third metatarsal or the fifth metatarsal or the heel? You know, if you're starting to ask yourself very specific questions about the person or the subject, then that's when I would say to you, okay, call me and let's set up that next level training.
I think the leaning will, because in some of the research I've seen with fight or flight, they tend to kind of either move forward or they might move back more. So you can have, just in general, there's a force difference. So I think at some point we're probably going to want to get into that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, absolutely. That's what we're here for. So
Okay.
once you figure out if that's a different type of study or if you could, you know, an additive to this study, and you have an idea of exactly what you're looking for, feel free. So, you know, we'll get back on the phone and we'll do another training.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, that sounds good.
All right, really good. I think you guys did good work. It seems to be you got a handle on it. These online trainings are a little bit challenging because now I have to expect that you're going to go practice a little bit. But if there's something happens and you don't get to practice, you just need a review. Let me know.
Okay, great.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
All
thank you
I'm
so
gonna go
much.
and call Ryan. Is it Ryan Fleming you were working with? Or
Yeah, it was Ryan. Ryan, I think Brittany helped set you up, but I think, yeah, the main person I talked to is Ryan.
Okay, I'll have Ryan touch base with you. Again, you can also use him as a way to get in touch with me if you have other questions.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, great job, everyone. Take
Great.
care.
All right, thank you.
Chris.
All right, stay warm.